While doing some research on the best places to search for treasure hunters, I saw a lot of people kind of just show the runs they would do at whatever location they were farming. For me, this didn't seem effective enough to really see which locations are the best. I decided to make my own guide for farming treasure hunters, but I didn't just want to show you the best runs and locations to farm. I ended up setting a spreadsheet with a list of locations and started tracking some important information as I would loot each location. Before I continue, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share, and hit the sub bell for future video and stream notifications. First, here is a list of the locations I checked out. Some of them are places I commonly loot and the others were recommended from the videos I watched. For each location, I would record how many treasure hunters I found that were alive and how many were dead. From there, I calculated the total number and percentage alive. After one round of farming, which took me all over the map, I found that a lot of the recommended locations had a low number of total treasure hunters and a low percentage alive. It is important to know that the number of treasure hunters for a location can vary, as you will see later when I show the rest of the spreadsheet. Since these locations had a really low total and percentage, I ended up making a point system that would rank the entire run completed at that location. Based on the total treasure hunters and the percentage alive, each run would get a score out of 6, 3 for each category. Anything that had 2 or less total treasure hunters got kicked out for the second round of farming. There were a few locations that had a moderate total of treasure hunters, but they were all hotspots with very low percentage alive. These two were also kicked out for the second round. Unfortunately, this includes Welch and the White Springs Golf Resort, which are pretty popular and recommended a lot. For the second and third rounds, I ended up testing the locations on the screen now. There were 3 locations that got kicked out after round 2 for getting a low score on their second run. These aren't bad locations, but they get enough traffic to put them in the middle, leaving only a handful of treasure hunters alive. Poseidon Energy Plant was originally attached to the Charleston run that I set up, but the numbers from Charleston were already so high I ended up splitting them. The 5 locations that made it to round 3 were Morgantown, Beckley, Camden Park, Charleston, and Mount Blair. When I did the final run for Morgantown, I noticed a huge problem. Why did I find so many dead treasure hunters? This third run was such a huge discrepancy compared to every other run I did. I made a realization. These dead treasure hunters could have been from hours ago. Treasure hunters don't turn into meat piles like every other creature. This is how the game cleans up the world to reduce lag. The reason why there are so many dead treasure hunters on the third Morgantown run was because they could have been from previous spawn cycles. The same thing can be said for all the other runs as well, and just like that, all of my research was ruined. Or so I thought. Despite the massive discrepancy, using the point system I set up, Charleston came in first, Morgantown came second, and Camden Park was third. These locations had the highest total number of treasure hunters and the best percentages of living hunters. If I were to account for the dead hunters being from previous spawn cycles, the top 3 would be Morgantown with 6 treasure hunters per run, Charleston with 5, and Camden Park with almost 3. The top 3 would be the same, but the order would be a little different. These numbers are averaged out, so they could be higher or lower on some runs. Looking at all the other locations, pretty much all of them had 2 or less hunters on average. There were a few times I ran into completely bugged out hunters, but I did count them in the results because they technically spawned. I also ran into players just having killed a few hunters. There are so many factors that can change the total number of hunters, such as RNG, other players, or bugs. Keep this in mind when you find the servers you are farming don't match or get the same numbers I do. If you do find a location that has a lot of treasure hunters on average per run compared to the locations I actually tested, please let me know in the comments below. For the rest of this video, I'm going to show a sped up run of the top 3 locations based on average living hunters with a map to show the rough paths I take. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share, and hit the sub bell for future video and stream notifications.
Proceeding. Search for hostiles.